Hello friends, acquaintances, and enemies of all ages, my name is Combat Bird, and I wanted to quickly apologize for this video coming out so much later than expected. I kind of got into a slump, and then had some family stuff come up, but I'm trying to get out of it for now. For today's Year of Kirby video, we'll be taking a look at the Kirby game that I may have accidentally skipped over. It is not only the last Kirby game to be released for the Game Boy Advance, but also the last known game to have credit attributed to the man himself, Masahiro Sakurai. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Let's get into it. The Amazing Mirror has a strange yet simple story. It's just your ordinary day in Dreamland. Kirby is on a walk, when suddenly he runs into a dark, evil version of Meta Knight, who cuts Kirby into 4 different colored versions of himself. The 4 Kirbys chase after this imposter Meta Knight into a giant mirror in the sky. The mirror leads to a mirrored world. Super unexpected, right? This world usually reflected the wishes of all the living things in Dreamland, but for some reason on this day, it only reflected the wishes of the evil, turning the mirror world into a landscape of chaos. After chasing the imposter through the giant mirror, they come across the real Meta Knight. The 2 knights fight, but the real one is defeated, being knocked directly into the mirror. Imposter Knight then cuts the mirror into 8 pieces, which get scattered all across the world. It's up to the 4 Kirbys to save Meta Knight and in turn, all of Dreamland. Alright, now based purely off of the art style, you may be wondering what makes this game different than Nightmare in Dreamland. Why was there a need for another Kirby game? Well, this time, the gimmick is that you can use Kirby's magical cell phone that he has for some reason to call the other colored versions of himself in to help. They can help fight enemies, solve puzzles, or defeat bosses, and that's it. Yep, that's really the big change to the game, and sadly, it's a gimmick that tends to go underused. You see, I love the idea of other Kirbys helping you solve puzzles, but this only happens a couple of times throughout the entire game. So your next option, of course, is to have them help you in combat. But that falls into one of 2 categories. Either A, the other Kirbys aren't helpful at all, or B, they make fighting way too easy. Don't feel like fighting a boss or sub-boss right now? Kirbys, roll out. I didn't have to do a single thing here. You can technically only call them in based on the charge on your cell phone, but I rarely ran into a situation where I ran out of charge. You can also use the cell phone to jump back to the hub, which brings me to the next change of the game. A change that isn't anything new mechanics-wise, but was still an interesting addition. Instead of the traditional, linear, beat 5 levels, beat a boss, move on to a new world type of design that most previous Kirby games had, Amazing Mirror plays with more of a Metroidvania design. Assuming you have the proper ability, you can go just about anywhere but the final level at any point in the game. All of the worlds, which are more like sections, are intertwined, allowing for a pretty unique gameplay experience. My only issue with this new design is that you can end up getting a little bit lost sometimes, and it doesn't feel like the world is quite expansive enough to encourage a ton of exploration. You explore when you feel like you need to, but it's not like there's a ton of Easter eggs or hidden fights or really anything like that. For me, it just kind of slowed down the pace of the gameplay sometimes, and for a Kirby game, something I would already consider to be slower paced than most platformers, this isn't quite what I was hoping for. I think that Kirby needs to stick to the more linear level and world system rather than trying to be open world. Now, this was by no means a game killer or anything like that, but just something to keep in mind when playing it for your first time. Now, there are actually some other new things that Amazing Mirror brought for us. First of all, we have a bunch of brand new copy abilities. We have Missile, where Kirby can direct himself around, exploding on any enemy or wall he touches. Cupid, where cute little Kirby grows wings and shoots arrows while flying around the screen. Magic, a new screen clearing ability where Kirby gains 1 of multiple items. Mini, where Kirby becomes incredibly small, but also defenseless. And last but not least, my favorite, Smash, where in an ironic twist of fate, Kirby gains the moveset from his Melee appearance. It really stays true to the exact moveset with his specials from Melee, and it's this attention to detail that makes it my favorite of his new abilities. And if that wasn't enough, both the Master Hand and Crazy Hand make an appearance in this game as bosses, which is absolutely amazing. And where would we be if I didn't mention any of the new sub-games we have? By the way, all of these games are compatible with the Game Boy Advance multiplayer. First, we have Crackety Hack, where the various Kirbys must compete to see who can put the biggest crack into the world based on how well they can time their button presses. Next is Speed Eaters, the expected reaction-based sub-game where whichever player presses A the fastest wins. And lastly is Kirby's Wave Ride, which is honestly just another timing-based game, but for a longer period of time. pressing A right as you pass over the top of a wave will give you a speed boost, and it's a race to see which of the Kirbys can get to the finish first. There is one more I should mention, but this one isn't new. Amazing Mirror stuck to what's becoming tradition at this point, and included a boss endurance mode, where you can fight all of the bosses from the game in a row with no additional lives. Okay, and there is one last thing that Amazing Mirror has in store for us, and that's the rewards for collecting the chests of the game. As you unlock more and more chests, you get rewarded for it, but unlike a traditional Kirby game where you simply unlock the sound and music test room, in this game you can also unlock more health and spray paints, which can be used to change the color of your current Kirby. I know it's a minor detail, but once again, it's little customization options like this that can push a game from good to great. And that is really it for Amazing Mirror. It's an overall good, expected Kirby game. Not a ton of new content, but for fans of the franchise, it's still more Kirby, and that's good enough for me. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I should be hitting 5,000 subscribers soon, and I'm super excited for that. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.